Good morning, friends. This is Mohit Goswami. Anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, and alcohol and drug dependency. Common mental disorders can result from stressful experiences, but also occurs in the absence of such experiences. or fears that get in the way of daily activities. Repeated use of drugs or alcohol. Extreme difficulty concentrating or staying still that puts the student in physical danger or causes problems in the classroom. Severe mood swings that cause happy. They either internalize their unhappiness or act out. The latter usually appears at bad or difficult behavior, such as using abusive language, being aggressive or violent, damaging and help for the mental health problems. Promote social and emotional competency and build resilience. Help ensure a positive, safe school environment. Teach and reinforce positive behaviors and decision making. Encourage helping others. Encourage good physical health. Help ensure access to school-based mental health supports.